Hi, I'm Brad Schrock with Kitchenland, and today we are in a former customer's kitchen, and we're going to show you how to measure a kitchen. And the reason we're doing this is with all the virus stuff, you may not want to come in and see us. So we're going to show you how to measure your kitchen so you can send your measurements to us. What you're going to need to do that is a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be graph paper, it can be. A pencil and a tape measure. If you don't have a tape measure, you can go to Lowe's. They're about $5 to $10. For a nice one, you need one that's 25 to 16 feet long. The first thing you want to do is you want to take a look at the room and draw the room out, just like this. So we see we have a wall here, so we're going to draw it this way. We're going to come this way, down this wall, and down here, and draw this just like it is. And that's where we're going to start. And as you can see, we've drawn the shape of the room here, and then we've also labeled certain items in here. We've drawn the window in here. We've left places for our measurements. We've marked the stove where we want the center of the stove. And we've marked the doorway and places for the measurements for the doorway. And here's where the refrigerator is going to sit. So we've marked all these things out so we know where we're going to put things in the kitchen. Now all we have to do is fill in the measurements. When I'm talking to people in Kitchenland, I'll ask them, where's the sink? And they'll say it's under the window. Well, the problem with that is I don't know where the window is. I have to know where the window is in order to put the sink underneath it. So we're going to measure where the window is. It's kind of like when I used to ask where my wife's keys were and she'd say that they were in her purse. Then I'd have to ask her where her purse is. So we need to know where the window is so we know where to place the sink. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure all the way back to the corner, just like this, to here. And in this measurement, it's 46.5 inches. Now the next thing we're going to do is measure the width of the window. So we'll stick our tape measure on the inside dimension of the window, and it's 23.5 inches wide. Now if there was trim on here, we go to the outside of the trim, and that would make this a little bigger. But since there's no trim, we're going to stay in here, and it's 23.5. We're also going to measure the other side of the window, and since we got this corner here, we'll go from here, the edge of the corner, all the way over to the other window, and that leaves us 33 inches. Alright, now that we have all three of those dimensions, we can at Kitchenland add those up and get the overall dimension of this wall. It's nice for us to have that dimension, but it's not necessary. In order to get that dimension, just measure from the corner all the way to the end of the countertop, and that would give us the overall dimension as well. So if we have all three of those dimensions, we know where the window is, we know where the sink is, and now we know exactly to get the sink underneath the window. If you're not moving the stove, we need to know where the stove is. The easy way to do is to measure from this corner over here to where the stove starts, which is 50 inches. So you write that down, and we kind of know that the stove is going to be 30 inches. The other way you can do it is you can measure the width of the stove, which this one's 31.25, so that makes it 15 5/8, which would be here. When I'm measuring the center of a stove, I just set my pencil there, and then I'll measure over from the corner to here, and the center of the stove is going to be 65.75 inches. Well, all we need to do here is get the overall dimension of the wall. So we come over here, we measure the countertops, and this is 13 feet long exactly, so 156 inches. So we'll write this measurement down. We know where the stove center is, and we're ready to go on this wall as well. So we're going to measure from the corner out to the doorway here, and it's 25.75 inches from the corner to where the door starts, or where the trim starts. Then we're going to measure the doorway, and because it has trim, we're going to measure from one side of the trim to the other side of the trim. And this door is 41 inches wide. This is a little difficult situation to measure because it's got 3D pieces and there's no easy way to get an overall measurement. So the easiest thing to do is take measurements of each individual thing and add them up. So here we go. We're going to measure the refrigerator. And there it is. It's 37.5 inches wide. So we're going to write that measurement down. And then we're going to go measure the pantry. And it's going to be 30 inches wide. So we're going to measure from here over to the door jamb, and it's 6 inches. So when we add up those three measurements, we'll know how much space we have on this wall. Fairly simple. Now you can see here that we've gotten our overall dimension. We have the one side of the window width, and the other side of the window, so we know our overall dimension. Here we've got the stove center, how long this wall is, And again, on this wall, we've taken how far the door is out, how wide the door is, and then because we couldn't get a good overall dimension, we took our 3 dimensions and added them up to get this dimension. And here we are with the overall dimension of how big this wall is. This gives us the overall view of the kitchen. Now what do you do next? You either scan this if you have a scanner, or if you don't, take a clear photo of it, call us, and we'll tell you who to text it to, or to email it to us. Either way, we have the dimensions so we can do a bid for you without you having to come into the showroom.